Obviously, third down's been a big topic. What do you want to see? I mean, the numbers obviously get better, but what goes into that?
Yeah, I think just the overall execution on third downs. We know it. For us as an offense, just the execution across the board, getting to a higher level, and it's not without getting specific into each play. We've talked about it, and you look at this game, it's no different than the rest of the games that we've had where we've had some third down struggles. Each play is its own separate entity, and just getting all 11 on the same page each one of those third downs is so imperative.
Sometimes third down problems are really more of a first and second down problem. Do you feel like that's the case, or is this more so isolated to third down?
Yeah, I think it's pretty isolated to third down when you look at some of our issues that have come up on those possessions. And like I said, just getting back to the basics of great communication, all the receivers getting open in the timing and the rhythm of the play, and then, the quarterback trusting what he sees and going after those third down scenarios like we worked on again today, and we'll keep working to get better in that area. But as for the first and second down stuff, we want to still eliminate those negative plays. And, look at this past week, we had a good day as far as executing on first and second down, taking away a few of those plays where we had some negative plays with the ball on the ground. But we're eliminating turnovers, playing efficient on first and second down. So for me and for us as an offense, we know it's really that third down execution is what it comes down to for us.
Russ has made it clear, not even just this year, but throughout his career, he likes to go to tempo at times, pick and choose your spots, obviously. But what does he do well in particular in tempo situations?
Yeah, I think you feel Russ when we're in the tempo scenarios, which we've been able to hit at certain times throughout the year. You really feel him. You feel his presence at the line of scrimmage. And the thing I think that he does such an excellent job is, he's not just getting up there to try to throw the ball all around the field. He sees the full field, knows when to get to some of those good run looks, and he's able to operate at the line of scrimmage in our full array of our offense.
Is more tempo maybe an option, or is that is it a week-to-week thing?
Yeah, I think it's a week-to-week thing, and every week when we look at it and getting into more and more of a rhythm as an offense, something that we know that's going to be part of our system.
Washington's missing a couple guys up front right now, but that front seven, what have you seen out of?
Yeah, I still think the two guys inside are still dynamic players. They set the tone for their defense. They get everything pushed back in the pocket. They do an excellent job against any of those interior runs. And then the guys that have had to come in and sub in on the edges have done a great job as well. But the last 2 weeks especially, they're doing a great job keeping stuff in front of them, playing good, fundamentally sound defense. And for us, it's a game of execution again, but really starting with those two interior guys of really handling them.
Specifically in the areas of motion and some of the play action numbers, it seems like the offense aesthetically hasn't looked the same that it did in week one against the Colts. A, is that a fair assessment? And B, if that's true, why hasn't it looked more like that?
Mm-hmm. In terms of, you're saying in terms of the motion?
Like pre-snap stuff.
I gotcha.
A snap as well.
Yeah. I would say I'd have to go back and check that because I know the play actions that we've hit have come off some motion. We hit Tyler on the deep crosser this past week, and like anything else, I think the more and more ops we can get in those play action scenarios when we're getting more snaps, and coming down to some of these games recently where we've had such limited number of total snaps within the game, naturally going to limit some of our opportunities there. But I think like every week, you go in with the motions, and in our opinion, it has to be something where there's intent behind the motion. If there's certain defenses that say, hey, there's an advantage to motion on this pre-snap look, or there's not, that's what we're going to go into it looking for. And so for us, again, we're trying to marry those play actions and the runs depending on what the run game plan is that particular week, trying to get those things where we're getting those defenders with some dirty eyes to try to create and generate some of those explosives, in those second and third levels of the defense.
We talked to Russ today. He said, we know who we are, as an offense. And he went back to the Colts, not about the motion or play action.
Sure.
Just in general, how well the offense looked that day, independent of the play action and motion stuff. Why hasn't the offense just kind of hum the way it did that first opening week?
Yeah, I think that first opening week, we were able to get into a good rhythm, get at the line of scrimmage, get some of those efficient first and second downs, and then, when Russ, like in that first Indy game, was able to scramble, get that first third down going, and able to get into more of a rhythm, I'll still go back and look at, the different games and week to week where, some of those first and second downs, and even some of the times when Geno was in there against Jacksonville or against Pittsburgh where, hey, we're on the line of scrimmage and we're almost getting rid of third downs because we're so efficient on first and second down, that's where the offense feels like it's at its best. And coming back to that, just being able to have the defense feel our offense in that attacking mode, something that we're looking to get back to and play a full game in that regard.
I'm sure you don't want to make excuses, but how challenging is it as a first-year guy here when you lose the quarterback for a chunk of time, you don't have your starting running back now for the season? Just What have those challenges done to kind of this whole process of getting things going?
Sure, I think everyone has different injury problems throughout the year in the NFL. So that's something that happens, and it's unfortunate for every team that has to go through that. So for me, that's really been a totally separate thing. It's more just about us and about us being efficient on offense, and that clean, crisp execution on every play has been something that we're still searching for, and we want to get to that point, sooner rather than later. We know there's a heightened sense of urgency. We're getting to that point of the year where there isn't a ton of weeks left. And so we need to start clicking and start clicking fast.
One more third down.
Yeah.
I think if I have this right, outside of a defensive pass interference against the Niners, Tyler doesn't have a third down target from Russ since the Titans game. What do you attribute that to?
Yeah, I think guys, a couple of the ones where he was going to be targeted as a primary, whether the rush was getting to him in this past game, and then you look back and Russ did miss the 2.5 games where Tyler was the target on those. And I think some of those third downs, when people are getting doubled or where they're going to play certain coverages to Tyler and to DK, that's where other guys need to come alive, and we'll keep pressing. I know Tyler's done a great job of working again this week and talking through all the different nuances of routes and different ways that he can get open when people are looking to double him and clamp him down on the third down with the different vice coverages. And so we'll keep working for that. But I think just the way the plays have played out, again, we're going to always want to try to target those guys in those scenarios and then be able to play off schedule if things don't play out correctly.
Been around Gerald for a while. How rare is his ability to kind of keep a play alive once first guy? I mean, it just seems like it's really hard for anybody to bring him down.
I think every time he touches the ball, it's just fun to watch. It's rare, like you said, it's rare that first guy, ever brings him down. He had a couple of those opportunities this past week where, he's breaking that first, maybe the second, maybe the third. He had a chance last year in the same scenario against Washington when we were in LA, and where he catches the ball on a little short pass to the right, and next thing you know, it takes 4 more guys to bring him down. So, he runs so violently, so hard, and he's got that determination to get the first down. And at the same time, you get a little worried sometimes with the ball, but he does such a great job keeping that ball high and tight when he is in those scenarios. Like we said, it's just a great opportunity to get the ball in his hands and let him see what he can do.
What was the difference in Duane's game Sunday versus how he had been performing? He said it wasn't to his standard prior to, I think, the Packers game, how he was playing. Mm-hmm. Why was he so much more effective Sunday?
I saw just an aggressive player on Sunday. Duane did a great job attacking his blocks, playing physical throughout all 4 quarters of the game. And, that's where you wish the results were better for a guy like him, because he has put in so much work and has had to, try to be the leader of this team as things have gone up and down. And I just think it speaks volumes to him as a person and to where guys are still at mentally in terms of haven't gotten the wins or the results that we want. But here's, a 14-year pro playing one of his best games of the year, as the season's going. And so looking for him to build off of that performance and have another excellent performance at left tackle.
Anything else, guys?
All right.
One more since we got.
Yeah.
Tyler, after the game Sunday, was kind of theorizing that one issue with the offense has been that you guys are seeing something on film during the week, and then teams are just doing something different on game day. Is that the same thing you're seeing?
Yeah, I think there's always going to be an element to that, especially in those known passing situations where defenses are going to, play our guys just based on the personnel, maybe a little different than the week before, and then trying to find those common opponents. So again, it goes back to, like, Tyler and I had some great conversations throughout the week on different things that we can do and ways that we're getting open on third down. But we're always anticipating teams changing it up. There's always going to be certain parts of progressions to plays, knowing that, even if you have a team that leans heavily towards one coverage, the percentage of getting those each play is still pretty low, because defenses are doing such a great job, as they always do around the league, of mixing and matching coverages in all those known passing situations. So for us, just more about having those good all-purpose plays where we can get across the board and start creating more.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks,
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.